Hey guys, it's Lefty from 643 Productions, back again with another Black Ops 2 gameplay commentary and a follow-up to a video I did a while back about swastika emblems and just general intentionally offensive emblems. Not emblems that become offensive once you see and interpret them, but rather emblems that we all know that people are just trying to be offensive, intentionally offensive emblems. And you know, I'm making this video not because I didn't say the things that I wanted to say in that video, but in looking back, and I do this from time to time with some of my videos, and I look back and I realize that this is kind of hard to explain. While I say the things that I wanted to say, and while I hit the general high notes that I wanted to say, and I made the general points that I wanted to make about a certain topic or incident or whatever, I realize that sometimes I don't provide proper context. I don't provide proper weight to some of the things that I say, and that results in usually not misinterpretations of my point, because again, I think that I make my cases generally, I make them well enough to be understood by most, but it gives people that usually tend to be intentionally contrarian, it gives them room to operate. And that was the case with my original video, which will be linked in the description, or it'll be a response video. I think I haven't decided what I'm going to do. It'll be a response video, I think, and you can go ahead and check it out if you haven't seen it already. But some people got the intention or took away from that video the idea that I was trying to say that nobody has the ability to be offensive in their Call of Duty emblems, and generally speaking, nobody can be offensive, period. Just nobody at all can be offensive whatsoever. And that is not the case. And again, I tried to get to this in the video, but I don't think I gave it enough. I don't think I gave it enough attention. I don't think I gave it enough emphasis, if you will. Now, I am a big believer in the Constitution of the United States. I'm a big believer in the liberty that document entails. And for those of you that don't know, if you're out of the country, if you're a European guy or somewhere else in the world, and you've never read the Constitution, suffice it to say that just for the purposes of this argument, I am a big believer in the freedom of speech. I am a big believer in the freedom of expression. I may not like the things that people say sometimes, and I may not like some of the things that are born from that freedom, from that liberty, but I respect it and I will defend it, regardless of whether I actually do like whatever it is that they're saying, that speech, if you will. Now, again, that's provided that the speech, one, isn't dangerous in terms of, right, because even though you have the freedom to say whatever you want, you can't go into a crowded theater and yell fire. That's just, you can't do that. No. And what's more, I would extend to that, the people that are not exercising their freedom of speech to challenge the cadre of social norms or to bring to the forefront of the public consciousness, you know, the idea that this or that might not be as socially unacceptable as someone might think, but rather the people that are just being offensive just to be offensive. Now, again, there is some kind of comedic value in that, but usually when it's just some kid intentionally being offensive for the sake of being offensive, I just don't think that you have to. Again, I want to separate this. I believe that you have the right to say whatever you want. Pretty much. Again, you know, the caveats that I listed earlier still apply. And that does extend to Call of Duty emblems. You know, if you want to get on the mic and start shouting racial epithets at people, I can't stop you, and I won't. You have the right to do that. You also have the right to put the most offensive things you can in your Call of Duty emblem. Now, Treyarch is actually the governing body. It's not the government of the United States or, you know, the general, whoever would be deciding these things. But just for the purpose of this argument, let's say that, you know, it's a government kind of action. Because usually the freedom of speech and expression is governed by the governing body of choice. And while you have, my argument is that while you have that right to say whatever you want and to express yourself however you feel, given the caveats that I mentioned earlier, so long as those aren't violated, I don't think you have to. I think there's a certain commendability let's say, that comes with realizing that, yes, I can say whatever I want. I do have the ability to express myself whichever way I choose in this situation, but I'm not going to, because it wouldn't accomplish a purpose. It wouldn't serve any rational or significant ends. It would just be a means to just be offensive just because. And I think there's that cliched term, and we all saw it in Spider-Man. It was one of the huge, one of the central ideas of that whole fiction is, with great power comes great responsibility. Well, the liberty, and I'm not trying to couch this argument just in terms of the United States and the things granted under our Constitution. I am using that as a barometer, if you will, but I believe in the liberty, the idea of freedom of expression, as extending to all humans, not just people that were lucky enough to be born in the United States and benefit from the Constitution. Because if you study history, it's not always the case. Just because you were born here doesn't mean you benefit from the rights laid down in that document. And so the idea of the freedom of expression, the liberty that is there, I think is a very powerful tool. And it is not to be abused just for the sake of being abused. And that is what I was trying to say. You, as a prepubescent or whatever, some punk-ass kid, you can make swastikas all you want in Call of Duty. Fine. I'm not going to try to tell you to stop. I'm not going to try to tell you that you shouldn't, or rather, I'm not going to try to tell you that you shouldn't be able to do that. But what I am saying is that while you do have that freedom, while you do have that liberty to do that, maybe you just shouldn't. Maybe you should look and say, well, yeah, I do have the right to do this. I do. And me personally, I would defend that right. However, I'm not going to make use of it here. I am not going to exercise that right and the protections afforded to that right. I'm not going to exercise it here because it wouldn't serve any purpose. It wouldn't serve any real purpose. When you're going to be intentionally offensive, when you're going to offend, when you're going to challenge things and to make people and attack their emotions, let's say with an offensive emblem or an offensive speech of any kind, expression, I think there should be some kind of tangible end to your actions, to your expression, and I just don't see that with Call of Duty emblems. To me, it is just you're abusing your right to expression, just to abuse it, and I don't see any purpose in that, and I see it as a perversion, really, of the intended right. So that is something that is an extra added layer that I wanted to get in there when talking about intentionally offensive emblems in Call of Duty and just generally intentionally offensive speech in general. Again, it's not just couched with Call of Duty. But anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to drop a like on this video. If you did enjoy, remember likes, favorites, comments, and shares via Facebook and Twitter do help me out. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out.